Hello and welcome back to Bull Polo channel. My name is Pascal. Today I am going to do a review of a diagonal cutter. It's made by Klein Tools. It's an 8-inch model. Diagonal cutter, they have different names around the world. Some people will call them snips in Ireland and England we call them some people call them side cutters. They're also called dikes. D-I-K-E-S. It comes in retail packaging, but not the worst one of them. This one at least pulls apart. And as you see, there's oil left here. So they are protected with oil while they are in storage and transporting. As you can see on the package, they're made in the US. Most Klein Tools are made in the US. Not all, but nearly all their pliers seem to be made in the US. Hold it up against the studio light here. Yeah, they look like they are perfectly aligned to one another. So, the diagonal cutter, the 8-inch one. We'll measure what length this is. I think it's 8 inches. It's 8 inches and 1/16. So that one is true to size. Diagonal cutters. What does it do? Well, some people use it to strip wire if it's a really big wire, but I'm going to test it out on a few things. A lot of people will use these for tie wire, cutting the tie wire. Sometimes they'll use the big linesman, but they'll use this one. It's much lighter to carry around. So I have some tie wire here. It should be. With a diagonal cutter, you will see that the pivot here is very near the cutting. So I will see how far it is from the first part of the cutting. I will give it to you 5/16, just over a quarter of an inch from the middle of the pivot to where it cuts. So you should get plenty of leverage in it. But for cutting tie wire, I don't think you even need to go in there because it's going to be easy to cut anyway. Yeah. When you are doing cutting steel or wire like this, you should wear safety glasses. So but with doing copper wire, no. But the piece goes flying here, and like that. Look, it cuts that, no problem. There's no point in me testing that. I'll give you a bit of number 12. It'll cut that like no problem. It's like it'll cut it like butter. Look, you can't even feel it cutting it. You could do it nearly with your 2 little fingers. But for the big test, I have number 5 here, AWG5. No, it's not quite AWG5, but it's almost. This is a 14mm square copper wire. This is heavy wire. It's also THHN wire as well. So could you strip this wire with this? I suppose you could do side cutting on it if you like. But I'm going to see will this actually cut this wire without difficulty. And it cuts it, yeah. You need to bring it back down further into it. No marks on this whatsoever. So to get the leverage into it, if you were cutting bigger one than this, or this size, I would get a 9-inch or 10-inch diagonal cutter instead. It will cut it. If you cut this with a linesman, I cut this with a linesman 9.5-inch linesman, and it cut it easier, even with the pivot down there. But if you put it on the bench like that, it depends on how strong you are as well. But if you get your 2 hands on it like that, you'll cut it. So yeah, it cuts it nice and neat, yeah. So yeah, that's for copper wire. I wouldn't be going much more than it'll cut number 4, and after that you will be making more than 1 cut. It's mostly called a diagonal cutter, I think, in the US, and it's called a snips as well. Okay, so that's the end of my short review on the side cutters, the 8-inch by Klein Tools. Klein Tools are famous for their pliers. The Klein Tools and Knipex are considered the 2 best in pliers and cutters. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. If you like this video or any of our other videos, please subscribe.